RKO the infamous NWO back with another video doing my UFC 142 pay-per-view review. I was there live in the Air Canada Centre in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Yes, this was a last minute thing. I was not planning to go, and literally yesterday, or like around after the weigh-ins, I found out that I was going. So I was there live, and this is my live review of the pay-per-view of the main card only. First matchup we got on the main card was a catchweight matchup because I can't remember who missed weight, but it was a 146.2 pound catchweight since someone was zero point 0.2 pounds over the limit, even though they said it was fine after, but I guess they made an agreement upon like right on the spot. Um, Cub Swanson versus Charles Oliveira. This matchup pretty much went not even out of the first round. This went a little back. This pretty much Cub Swanson was countering one of Charles Oliveira's shots and clipped him. And it was like a delay knockout. He stood up. 2 seconds later, 2 seconds later, his knees buckled, dropped, and that was it. That was in the fight, and it ended up winning knockout of the night. There was also a previous knockout on the prelims, which I thought was going to win knockout of the night. But once I saw that knockout, I'm like, yeah, that was pretty nasty knockout. But yeah, that was the first match. That was the first fight of the night, and it was pretty good way to start off the show. Then we got the next matchup between Matt Hamill and Roger Hillett, and this matchup went all 3 rounds. The first round, Hamill pretty much got the better of that first round, almost knocking out Roger and getting him to the ground and pretty much ground and pounding him, but that was not the case. He survived. Second round, Roger came back a little bit, but Hamill did pretty much most of the damage. This is when the crowd started getting a little bit rowdy because there wasn't major anything happening at this time. And then the third round came, and Hamill did as much as possible, did not do as much damage as the first round. The first round was the best round of the fight, and he won a decision 29-28 and 30-27 and 30-27, and that was a fight. The fight was whatever. It was okay. And I honestly thought this was going to be potentially be fight of the night, knock of the night. Brian Stann versus Michael Bisping, and it was a decent fight to say the least. First off, Michael Bisping came in the first round landing much more shots than Brian Stann, landing a nice punch, but no, I think Brian Stann landed a good punch, and then Michael Bisping ended up landing a good elbow in that round. But the first round I gave to Michael Bisping. Then we have the second round. Brian Stann was working and doing much better in the second round of the fight, and was yeah. So I gave Brian Stann the second round. In the third round, Michael Bisping came and landed better, more shots, and overall, and taking down Brian Stann, and yeah, some good slams, and overall controlled the majority of the third round. So I gave that to Michael Bisping, and it was a unanimous decision, 29-28, 29-28, and 29-28. Then we have the flyweight matchup between Demetrius Johnson and Joseph Benavidez. And this was a matchup to determine the first ever UFC flyweight champion. And this was a fight that the crowd did not like, due to the fact that the only reason you're live there and there's no commentary unless you buy the UFC Fight Radio, which I did have, because, and the only reason I had it is because when I went to UFC 129, I bought it then, and it was just been hanging off one of my bookshelf for the past year, and how long, since April of last year. So I brought it there and I listened to the thing instead of paying the extra 15 bucks and buying a second one. And but for the times, because sometimes like the battery was kind of loose, so I had to push it in every once in a while after a couple rounds or so. So sometimes I would, like one time at the last, I had to do a couple rounds without commentary. And when you're sitting there and you're just watching, sometimes it gets quite boring, and then you're just there and nothing interesting happening, and with no commentary, and you're watching a technical fight, and this is a part of the show when you're there for more than like 5 hours, because you're there. If you come, we came there to watch everything, not just to watch the main card. We want to watch all the fights, right? So we're there, and you're uncomfortable, and you're all rowdy, and you just want to see some action. You want to see someone get. You want to see a finish. You don't want to see this. This is why. This now I understand how. I understand why crowds get all rowdy like this, because sometimes you don't want to see a fight like this. Sometimes you want to see a finish in a fight. You don't want to see it go to unanimous decision. On top of that, we already had 2 unanimous decisions, and the first 3 rounds of the fight were quite boring, to a point where I had to get up and just walk around. Now, once the 4th round, that's when it started picking up, and the 5th round was pretty good also. But overall, did not enjoy this fight at the least. And Demetrius Johnson obviously winning by decision, but he won by split decision, not unanimous, which I thought he should have won by unanimous. And yeah, that was the case for that. I honestly thought, I even predicted that. I said if this went 5 rounds, this would be quite boring for people, but that's just me. Maybe I have to rewatch this on pay-per-view and see how it was. Maybe it was much better, much more enjoyable. Then we got the lightweight championship. Originally, it's supposed to be the flyweight title to be the main card. Which, if that was the case, I definitely for sure probably would tell you that I would have never went to the show to begin with. And yeah. So John Jones, Johnny Bone Jones, since the cancellation of UFC 151, fought on this card to replace, and instead of fighting Dan Henderson, well, obviously Dan Henderson was injured, but instead of fighting Lino Machida, which declined, and the Shogun, which declined, he ended up fighting the returning to lightweight division, Vitor Belfort. Lightweight division, I mean light heavyweight division. Did I say lightweight? I keep saying lightweight. Light heavyweight division. Funny, I finally stared at when I was looking at the stats. John Jones is really 6'4", and I'm 6'4", so I am as just tall as John Jones. That's just a crazy fact. I should check my reach to see if I have a longer reach than John Jones, because I'm quite a lanky person. But first round, it came right out. John Jones coming out, landing punches, trying to find the distance. Obviously, John Jones has almost pretty much a foot of distance over Vitor Belfort, and 10 years, 10 years younger than Vitor Belfort. The crowd was chanting Vitor Belfort. Jones was like the heel in this matchup, aka, if people don't know what a heel is, the bad guy. Heel is a wrestling term, yes, I know, but whatever. Vitor Belfort pretty much, he's on the ground, and all of a sudden grabs an arm, and before the fight happened, John Jones did a one-arm cartwheel, and I'm like, what happened? I bet you he messed up his arm. For some reason I just said that, just for like jokes. Like, what would happen if he just pulled his arm right there? He'd be screwed. And the same arm that I kept saying that he pulled, because that's how he got caught in this, was the arm that pretty much hyperextended John Jones. Yeah, John Jones' arm, because he got locked in the armbar. And John Jones literally, I was going nuts when this happened. He was in there for, it felt like a minute, but maybe 10 to 30 seconds. And honestly, thought John Jones was going to tap out, but yeah, that was not the case. He came back, survived, beat up Belfort, cut him open. He got healed up, beat up Belfort for the 2nd round. Beat up with elbows and take him down. Beat up Belfort for the 3rd round. Same thing. Belfort landing a couple of good shots, a couple of good punches, a couple of good tags. 4th round came. Beat up Belfort came up swinging, but them two went back and forth, which was quite exciting. And then ended up taking Belfort down to the ground. And at 54 seconds left, I believe, in the 4th round, he gets a Americana submission lock, lands elbows and grab that submission, and wins via submission. So I believe this is his 3rd. So that means every title defense that did not go to unanimous decision, which was the Rashad one. He beat Rampage with submission, he beat Machida with submission, and he beat Belfort with the submission. I believe this is the most submission wins ever for a light heavyweight competitor in light heavyweight division, let alone the light heavyweight champion, finishing by submission. So, yep, John Jones making a statement that he just doesn't knock people out, he punishes people and makes you tap out. And he pretty much turned into a face after this, saying that he wasn't gonna let his arm break, and he thought it was pretty much over by then. I mean, he wasn't gonna tap out; he just let his arm break. And I believe he's in a sling right now. And as when I was reading Twitter, that John Jones came to the presser and he was in a sling for his arm, so maybe he messed up his arm. But John Jones is one tough person and turned babyface again tonight, rocking that new Nike apparel that he has for his sponsorship. And let me show you what I got. Let me just quick. This is the event shirt right there. UFC 152 yep. And then we got the exclusive Canada one, which I will personally wear because I think this is a pretty sweet shirt right there. If you can see that. Bam. So that's that. I have the UFC 129 as a blue shirt, and these were both medium. These were the only mediums left. I mean, these are the only size left. But thank God I wear medium now since I've been working out. So that's good. That is my review for UFC 152 live experience. Thank you for watching. If you survived to the end of this video, hope you enjoyed. And that is all.